Let your man go, huh?
Drop it, I don't want to talk about it.
Drop it, hell? I want to hear about this, homie.
I said forget about it, cuz.
Thank you for joining us. This is Podcast, and I am your host, Lily Abernathy. Episode 14, Bert Kreischer, the Reneger. Given the recent negative attention the boys at Two Bears One Cave have been receiving, I genuinely thought I wouldn't have to make this episode. For anyone familiar with Two Bears One Cave, the Gas Digital Extended Cinematic Universe, or more specifically, the Crowder Boys, then you are more than likely aware that this past year a song titled Two Bears One Grave was released by friend of the show Crackery J. Amico. We won't play it here, but if you are unfamiliar, please pause. Go to Crack's YouTube page and listen to the song. It's a great track and covers a lot of why people have been turning on both Tom and Bert in recent times. Shortly after the release of the song, comedian Ari Shaffir was guest starring on the podcast Legion of Skanks. To make the story short and sweet and save us all time, Ari calls Bert live on the podcast and makes him aware of the song, and has Bert call back with his reaction afterwards. Bert surprisingly takes it in stride and does the only thing he can do to not come off like a fat, greedy, and plays into the situation by offering Crackamico some type of appearance on the Fully Loaded tour. Given that Bert and Tom have both addressed the recent hate from fans, this seemed like a no-brainer for Bert to actually go through with this situation. The song itself is funny. It would show that both him and maybe even Tom could in fact take criticism and jokes about them. And on top of that, Crack is very easy to work with despite his demeanour to the general public, and has worked with Bert's Gas Digital extensively. What should have been a no-question slam dunk for all parties involved turned into something else. Now that I understand, the final weekend of the Fully Loaded tour has finished. A man who has constantly talked about having opportunities being taken away from him and having difficulties with old Hollywood and its gatekeepers is now a gatekeeper himself. Now, while I have not spoken with Crack about the situation at all, this past Crack House Live on Saturday was a rather revealing experience. Not only did we find out that Bert or someone on his team had been in contact with him about the situation, it seems that he was kind of cool guide on the whole situation. Bert, much like our subjects last week, Joe Rogan, David Lucas, and the lot of New Hollywood are opportunists. Shapeshifters, just like the evil changelings on Deep Space Nine, changing their form whenever it best suits the situation. Bert had no issue using the situation for himself to help promote tour dates. From talking about it, as well as making videos on social media where he is getting drunk before noon and playing Two Bears, One Grave, getting hyped for White Boy Summer and his tour. What makes the situation even worse in my eyes is that I know for a fact that Bert is allowing people he does not know to open up on the tour for him. I was recently made aware of a podcast this past week by a Twitter follower who will remain nameless, the DLP Agenda, formerly known by a different name, The Rob and Joe Show. I would like to preface that I have no ill will towards this group of people. I did not even know they existed before this week. What I've come to understand from a briefing and very little research is that the show is comprised of former radio hosts/comedians from the Maryland area. Around 2022, they underwent a rebranding from the Rob and Joe Show to the DLP Agenda and added comedian Justin Schlegel to the lineup. Now, I don't expect any of you to know who these people are. They seem to have a decent local following, and as someone who is not familiar with terrestrial radio in its current state, or the area of Maryland in general, I cannot attest to their popularity. However, after being made aware of the podcast, I checked their two most recent episodes, the elder being titled, "The Guys Strategize a Plan to Get Justin on the Fully Loaded Comedy Festival Tour." It has also been brought to my attention that the plan was in fact a success, and Justin did open for the Fully Loaded tour this past weekend. Now, this comes to no surprise to me that Bert, someone who made a living off of selling tickets through radio and bar meetups in the past, would allow someone on the tour to open for him that is involved with people who formerly used to help Bert make his living. Bert also seems to be a man who goes back on his word and exploits situations for his benefit. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't heard of any three of the hosts of the DLP Agenda, and I am pretty familiar with comedy. For someone that is so opportunistic and money-hungry, it seems odd to me that Bert and his team wouldn't do some sort of collab, given how much attention Two Bears One Grave brought. But he would have a comedian open for him, that is on a podcast with less than 500 subscribers, and is co-hosted by former radio hosts. Which means they should already have some sort of following. More than 500 subs, I would hope. Crack has over 20,000 followers on his YouTube channel in his brief existence. You could pick any video on his channel, and it has more views than all of the DLP agendas combined. I'm not sure about you, but the whole situation rubs me the wrong way and is a bit irritating. Again, no shade to the DLP guys. They actively had a plan to get someone from their group to open on the tour by using their radio host relationship with Bert. Maybe Bert just appreciates a good opportunist more than he does an actual artist or performer, or owes one of the radio hosts for some form of debauchery from the past. But I'm tired of Los Angeles and all the fake-ass motherfuckers that live there. Opportunistic, fame-hungry cocksuckers. I mean, Crack didn't even ask to be on the tour. Bert offered it to him, creating a sort of Mexican standoff. Crack almost immediately called Bert on his, saying that nothing would come of the situation, and now that the tour is over, nothing has. Bert, however, had no issue taking advantage of the situation to promote himself and making it seem like he knows how to take a joke. But more than anything, this reiterates Bert's disconnect with his current situation of fans turning on him and how he can't actually take a joke. It also shows that how he is rather vindictive and a total asshole about the entire situation. I mean, it's one thing to invite him to the tour as a reaction to a situation caused by the Jewish trickster Ari Shafir, but he took it a step further, with actual contact. Again, I have not spoken to Crack about this situation, and have no more knowledge about this situation than any of the listeners. But the entire thing kind of seems like one of the gatekeepers of New Hollywood tried to dangle a carrot in front of someone, and they didn't bite. Regardless, Bert reneged on a situation of his own doing, and has yet to contact Tanya about his illegitimate son, Damarian. I guess making sure Jelly Roll wears a hat with your vodka's brand on it at performances is more important than living up to your word or caring for your own offspring. I also met Jelly Roll while he was touring with the rapper Yelawolf some years ago. The guy can get fucked and is just as opportunist as everyone else in New Hollywood. I would like to thank all the listeners once again. Every week, I receive great messages and comments from people, and for all the people on YouTube that are angry and not only choose to listen to the whole episode, but also leave a comment, I appreciate it. It greatly helps with the algorithm, and also, please don't be mean to me. This week's outro song is brought to you by up-and-coming electronic duo Charles X. Darwin. They, along with a number of other people, contacted me about the ending song from episode 5. They have provided me with a remixed version, and we hope you all enjoy it. For anyone wondering about the opening song, it is titled Riot Sugar by Japanese rock band Boris. May everyone have a wonderful white boy summer, besides Tom and Bert, of course. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Follow us at Podcast the Pod on X, formerly Twitter. This has been Lily Abernathy, signing off.